Hey, good evening. We're live, and this is Rusty with the Stunthangar Hangouts, and I'll be your host for the next couple of hours. I made a mistake when I was posting the links on Stunthangar in the At the Bench thread and accidentally posted the same link to the video twice. So if you wanted to go there and click the YouTube watch page link, I've just changed it, reposted it, so go back again and click that, and that'll get you where you want to be. Hopefully that doesn't create any confusion, and we're all in one piece now. So it's Monday, October the 8th, and so welcome. We'll sit here and hang out for a couple of hours. Hopefully we'll get a good crowd in here. We had a great show Friday night. Lots of people came in, and we covered all kinds of different topics, and a lot of my Cox Engine Forum friends came in. I made a post over there about the show, and so they got interested, and I looked up at one point in the show. We had nearly 20 viewers in here at the same time, and I'm glad they didn't all try to come in on video because we can't handle but about 10 of them at a time, I believe, including myself. But anyway, we'll do our usual thing and talk about whatever you like to do, aeromodeling or whatever you like to do in your shop, whether it's planes, trains, automobiles, full-size models, or whatever else. And I'll hang out here, and hopefully some people will join on video, so I got somebody besides myself to talk to right now. Excuse me. Right now, that's just what I'm doing. So I'll patiently wait. And hey, Jack Snavely, how you doing, Jack? Glad to see you. One of my YouTube buddies just popped in, so we'll get some conversation going over there too. For the people in YouTube, y'all can either talk to each other or talk to me, and we appreciate y'all's contributions. You've been clicking it more often lately, and I really appreciate that. That helps us run the show, keep everything going. And it looks like Stunthangar's own Sparky has joined us. I see he's got a new plane showing. Let me click up on that. Are you with me, Sparky?
Yeah, I'm eating dinner, so.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll sit here and let everybody look at your plane, your high roller, while you eat. And man, it looks great. It's absolutely beautiful. Oh, you got your lines on it too. You did a lot of work. I never seen a man that can work so fast, and a nice carbon fiber prop. That's pretty sleek. Can't wait to see that fly. Hope that's your new giant killer. Go win the Nats with that.
Yeah, that ain't gonna happen.
Oh well, you got a lot of time to practice till July, so come win at Huntersville with it. How about that?
I'm gonna bring it.
Yeah, good.
You rubbed out by them.
Yeah. You have you got any clear on it yet?
Yeah. Got about a pint of clear on it, I guess.
Yeah, I can't really tell on camera. It's pretty glossy, but that's a great looking plane though. So, and yeah, that's right. This was the one we were looking at the other night when Bob started telling us that the new designation was not in by your number anymore, USA. Not that it matters on a model airplane, but I didn't notice that in the general aviation, but I don't see them close up as often. But I guess they all say USA before their tail number now, huh? So says Bob.
I'm saying.
Yeah. I've put AMA before my numbers early in my wing numbering career, but never put an N or a USA. I think I'll put USA on the Cardinal, on the fuselage. I like that on the fuselage.
You can't tell that's from the United States. You're sleeping.
No, yeah, that's true. Also on my Cardinal, I'm going to put exhaust stacks. I've got a spare pair that Howard Rush made on his a 3D printer. He made me some for my Sterling Mustang and Yak. I got him on the Yak now. Still hadn't built the Mustang, but he gave me, you know, opposites in case, depending on, you know, which side or whatever looked best. And I've got a spare pair for the Cardinal, and that ought to look pretty cool. I've never seen it. I like doing stuff nobody else has done. I hate it when my planes look like everybody else's. So we got Jack Snavely over there with us on the tube. Hadn't seen anybody else pop in yet. But boy, we had a major crowd on Friday night. And at one time we had 20 viewers, I believe, which is about the most. I think that's a record. Speaking of Huntersville, I hope that I'm there. I could possibly be in the hospital at that time, but I'll hopefully get the schedule on that either tomorrow or the next day. They hadn't called me, so I'm going to call them and go ahead and get it arranged. But all that crap they bolted me together with back last December didn't hold my hip together, so I'm going to go back and get them to redo it with a full-on replacement artificial joint. So hopefully this time it'll stick. I sure hope so, because I'm getting tired of this sitting around business. And Gerald's with us. Hey, Gerald from New Zealand. How you doing tonight?
Hi, Rusty. Good.
Hadn't seen you in a few nights.
Yeah, I've been busy, very busy trying to get ready for the Ringmaster-a-thon. And we got our models finished, 3 new models all built, ready for the Ringmaster-a-thon, and flew them on Sunday. But it stuffed up everything else. And it was funny on your Friday night show, we listened to the whole show, but I was painting and covering and doing everything. And Alina was watching your show, and she really enjoyed it. She said it was a brilliant show.
It was great. Yeah, we had a fun time. I think we went on till about 1 or 1:30 in the morning. All kinds of people showed up. It was pretty amazing. So yeah, that's the kind I like to have. I've had a few people comment on it. So sorry you couldn't make it, but I'm glad in your absence we were able to hold it together.
Oh, it was great. We were there, but we were listening and watching. I actually was outside using the compressor spraying models, and I just relayed it with a FM transmitter to the garage so I could listen to it live outside. And Alina was watching it inside on the computer while she was working inside. So it's great entertainment.
Hey, Michael.
Hey.
All the way from Colorado. How are you doing tonight?
Doing all right, other than thinking about not doing fall and turning into winter down here.
Yeah, well, Michael is our video werewolf. I think you cut some off of that beard since Friday night, didn't you?
Yeah, it was getting a bit much.
A foot.
I've got to go to the hairdresser in the morning and get my mop trimmed. Alina got me to book in for that. So,
yeah. Good to see you, Gerald. Who else is coming? I just heard something.
I'm gonna get most of mine cut off. I think probably this week, but I don't want to go back to the hospital with all this damn hair hanging on me and having to keep it tied back and all that's just too much of a pain in the ass. So I'm just gonna whack it. It'll have plenty of time to grow back if I want it to, which I'm sure I probably will. And just won't look like a hippie while I'm there.
I'm sorry to hear about your hip. They have to operate and replace the whole hip. I take it now.
Yeah, that's what they're going to do, and it just widened up to the old bones just weren't up to holding the screws and plates and pins, and so maybe a whole hip will do. It's risky, you know, and there's a lot of things that could go wrong, but I'm going to be as strong as I can and, you know, get as much nutrition as I can, get the immune system as strong and I'll lean into it, man. And you know, I knew something was wrong. I was doing really well walking around back early summer and almost put the game down completely and then just started backsliding. Thought I was doing something wrong, blamed it on myself, but it wasn't my fault. It was just falling apart and I didn't know it. And finally, last Wednesday, I guess it was, I woke up and couldn't walk, and that was a big clue. So we jumped on it, got pictures, made a plan. That's the plan, and I'm sticking to it.
Yep. Definitely keep it there.
But anyway, look at Sparky's plane over there. Can y'all see it? He's got the lines on it. He's got the lettering on it. Everything. It looks ready to fly to me.
Looks very nice. Yeah, he's done a beautiful trimming job on it. It just looks really nice as finish and the his graphics.
He'll join us when he finishes eating. He's still eating supper right now, but he'll be in here in a little bit.
Oh wow.
Jack Snavely's with us over on YouTube. And what does he say? That's a great looking plane. Yeah, Jack's just commenting on it, saying the same thing we are.
That's really pretty. Is it like a newer version of the Junar XL? I haven't talked to him in so long. I don't know what he's been up to.
This is not the Junar. This is I should be able to tell you, but I can never remember the name of it. He'll tell you when he gets back. But no, it's a. I don't think it's a self-design. I think it's an existing airplane that he's built. But he built it. He just, like all of them, he cut the wood, built it from either plans or out of his mind. Not sure which, but
it's pretty.
I think he builds them out of his mind rather than plans, actually. But that's out of my wheelhouse. I still got to have plans. I got a clothesline in my shop I made out of 018 flying wire and hang my plans up on it so I can slide them back and forth. It's usually two sheets, and so I got one in front of the other. So depending on which I want to look, I slide it like shower doors. One goes this way, one goes that way. So
that's a good idea. I never thought of doing that.
Yeah, it works, except for when I want to look at sometimes it's hard not to block. It's in front of one of my windows. So if I slide them both over, I can look at the front one without blocking the light from the window. So I like to get as much sunlight coming into that shop as I can, because that helps. I think it helps keep. Seems like it helps keep it from getting as musty and moldy in there. I don't know if it really matters or not. Sunlight can't be a bad thing to have shining in there, though.
Okay, there are no plans to this. Let me tell you the evolution, how this works.
Okay.
This looks like my Junar XL, but it's different numbers. The same wing, different numbers. Just like this airplane looks like Chris Rudd's airplane, but it's not. It's different numbers. So this is out of my head. I mean, what I did was I saw Chris Rudd's airplane and I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked the way it looked, and I like Billy's designs.
Yeah.
So I asked him what was going on, and he sent me a little drawing, on 8.5 by 11. I think it was a PDF that he sent me. And I built the first one, and this is the second one. This one here, I moved the tail back an inch, and the nose is a 1/4 inch shorter. So I'm moving things around because this is a piped airplane.
Yeah.
So there are no
back to the pipe.
Huh?
Going back to the pipe, huh?
Yeah. PA-75. Now this airplane, the way it sits here, is 60.5 ounces. Wow. But it's the same weight as my other airplane. The fixed weights have changed. The motor's an ounce heavier, the prop's an ounce heavier, and you got the pipe underneath it. So this is a 57-ounce airplane with a little bit heavier hardware, so it should fly all right.
Yeah,
this is good.
Definitely sharp.
How did you manage to get the weight down so much? How did you manage to? That's incredibly low weight to get it effectively down to 57.
My my Junar XL is 57 ounces. And we got 2 Jamie Hofords in here.
How'd that happen?
Siamese twins.
Hey, Jamie.
Anyway, let me take this one down. Maybe we can get them so you can see them together.
You two Jamies don't get into a fight down there. Oh, there went one of them. How you doing, Jamie?
I don't know if I got enough room to do this or not.
In the same system, rotating cast of characters.
Let me click on you there.
With coaches and players, that he's kind of that have helped make him great. He's
What
made so many
Those are pretty good. We
Yeah,
got most
it's
of
pretty
them.
cute.
And that means that transcends the football field. That means just as a citizen and as a person, and seeing there with his kids, I mean, you have no heart if you don't, if that doesn't kind of.
They are, yeah, they are very similar looking, identical looking.
If you look, who's got the TV going?
I don't know.
That's Jamie. Yeah.
Hey, that was Jamie.
Waving. Yeah.
Okay, if you look at it, the nose looks longer on the new one because the canopy's farther back.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The tail looks also an inch longer.
But it looks similar because the canopy's back. It's good looking. They're both beautiful airplanes.
And
I like that.
it's kind of designed off of Billy's Junar, which was a classic. Well, not really a classic. It was a super 70s airplane. And the wing is close to USA 1 wing.
Yeah. USA 1 was probably his biggest wing, right?
And this wing's bigger.
Yeah.
What wing area is it, Sparky?
I'm not sure. It's 11.5-inch cord by 58-inch span.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd have to average it out with a taper and get the mean cord.
It's around 700.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so Jamie said, that's interesting how you can pop up information.
So that's what I've been doing. I gotta find a Motel 6 decal because this was built in a motel.
It sure came out nice.
It sure can do if you want to do it, I don't want to hear guys say, well, I don't have the room or I don't have the time. Well, it took a year to do, but I build more than I have been, but I've been working, so.
Yeah.
I got a buddy that travels for a living. He's in the Air Force, and he was in the Air Force. He retired recently, but now he's a contractor, and he calibrates the avionics systems. Is it ILS? I'm not sure. It's avionic systems for their approach and takeoffs that line up the planes with the runway. Anyway, he down to town and builds in the hotels and left a wing in the closet, a skeleton of a wing in the closet one time when he checked out of a hotel. He called him up. And it was a while before they heard back and acknowledged it, but they found his wing, and I think he passed through there again and picked it up. So they kept it all in one piece for him. That's nice. You leave a skeleton of a wing lying around, and it's usually going to get busted up pretty quick.
Now, if you look at the Junar XL over there, it's pretty shiny because it's been rubbed out. This one here will shine just like the other one. It takes about 100 hours to polish them.
Wow. Yeah.
Do you polish it with car wax or something?
No. I sand it with 1,500, then 2,000, then 5,000.
Okay.
And I use a rubbing compound and rub it till it gets that shine like the other one.
Yeah. That's a lot of elbow grease.
About 100 hours. Takes me all season to get it polished.
Yeah.
And the longer you wait to polish it, the shinier it'll be.
It's to harden.
Now, on this airplane here, it's been high humidity. I've been painting over John Jordan's garage. He helped me ink it, and that's why it went so fast. It's nice to have a third hand.
Yeah.
All that was done in one day. All the ink and all the clear in one day, and that's pretty hard to do. But I was kind of in a hurry or whatever. It's got probably got 5 coats of clear on it, and it's going to get some more because it's light. I'm under my 64-ounce target weight, so it's pretty nose heavy. So instead of putting concentrated weight on it, I'll add the clear on it to move the CG back. But I need to get it sanded out with 1500 grit, and then come this weekend, if the humidity's down, we'll shoot it with crystal clear, or, something like that.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to paint urethane on the nose on this one. I'm going to try that. We'll see how long before the fuel eats off the dope.
After you finish flying, what do you usually clean the gook off your planes with?
Windex.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I use too. Sometimes I'll do it with alcohol on the monocoat and then go back with Windex because the alcohol leaves water spots.
Well,
yeah.
Yep. Hey, am I coming in?
Yeah.
Yeah, you are.
All right. I'm going to just need to do a test right quick. I'm going to hit the TV on. Let me know if y'all hear it.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Loud and clear. We got TV as well. Sorry.
What you do, turn your noise suppression switch on?
I wish.
Yeah.
I need headphones for your TV.
It might not have been as loud as it was before, but it was clearly on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you could hear it very clearly.
Need to go through my settings. Because otherwise, when my coworker's in the hotel room, he has a TV going and I have to mute my mic. At least this way, if I can get the mic on the laptop to just stop and just go through on my headset, I'll be totally good.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem to want to cooperate. And I never think about doing it at the house beforehand.
Turn on VOX.
Oh yeah, where at?
I have no idea, but VOX is voice operated.
Uh-huh.
And it won't pick up any background sound until you talk into the mic.
I never knew what that was. I've seen it on mine.
Yeah. That's nice to know.
You see it there, Jamie?
Let me see. Where is that in the settings?
It's going to be in your headset settings.
Is that what I'm trying to find on
What
is
type
it
of
setting for
headset?
Usually the up arrow in your system tray or some of that, the speaker in your system tray will take you through to that stuff.
Yeah. Go down to the speaker, right click, system settings or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, John has been a super big help to me to get it done. I mean, he's set his plane aside for me to do the work that I've got 2 weekends in the finish. We have about, between John and I, we have about, 18, about 40 hours, maybe 50 hours in the finish on this.
Ink looks nice.
And there ain't no mistakes in it either.
What's the pattern on the tail fin? I can't quite make it out.
That's an ace of spades with a gal. in there. It says high roller.
Oh yeah.
I got some dice coming. Snake eyes. The 2 big red dice are going to go next to the high roller by the fuselage in that white spot there.
Oh, that should look nice.
I'll have $30 in decals on it.
Wow.
Did you just clear over the decals with the same clear you used to clear the plane?
Yeah. They're water slide decals like we used to do when we were kids.
Yeah, plastic models. Oh, we lost Jamie.
He'll be back.
Yep. Hopefully.
Yeah, he's playing with his sound settings.
There
Yeah, here he comes.
We get it?
I don't know.
Hey, James.
I like the canopy too. Did you sort of misted around the edges?
Yeah, that's what I was asking him about Friday night. I like the way that looks.
Yeah, it looks really neat. Gives it sort of a 3-dimensional look in a way.
Yeah.
Paint it blue and then highlight it with whatever color around the edges.
Yeah, it looks nice.
Yeah, that's something I'm going to try next time I paint my canopy is mask it off and then shoot all around it without actually shooting at it.
But this is a trick from Wendy that I picked up from watching his videos. You got to paint the canopy a color that's not on the airplane.
Yep.
Now I have blue on it, but not that shade of blue.
Yeah, lighter.
You look at the orange one over there, the Junar. It looks better blue. But I didn't want to paint it yellow.
Yeah.
Oh hell no.
Yeah.
I suppose where they do the tinted plastic blues, often a color they'll tint the plastic on a canopy, and it sort of looks nice too. Whereas the tinted yellow doesn't always come out so well.
I think that airplane does need some yellow stripes on it.
Yeah.
And a silver de-icing boot on the leading edge.
Yeah.
That is still going to happen.
Yeah.
I have some little nicks in the leading edge, some dents, hanger rash. I'll fix those with a silver de-icing boot on the leading edge.
Yeah.
Like I did the Junar.
Yeah, I like to see slats or something on the lead edge. That adds more to it.
Oh, he gets his mic's off.
But like John and I were discussing as I was working on it, you know, it's probably an 18-point airplane, maybe a 19-point airplane when it's done. But let's say 18. If I worked on it another 2 weeks, what would I get?
Maybe
another point.
It's not a 20-pointer. There's you know, I don't know how them guys build a 20-pointer.
All I can say is Wendy must have been a phenomenal builder finisher to get as many 20-pointers as he did.
Well, hours and hours and hours. You paint it silver and then sand it all off. Paint it silver and then sand it all off. Yeah, this could be 20 points for another 10 ounces.
Yeah. You don't want another 10 ounces.
No. So,
So had the ringmaster fly and go this weekend. Anybody besides Gerald fly a ringmaster?
I don't got one, so.
You know.
Well, we built 3 of them, and I had an old one, and another chap in our club built a ringmaster as well. He built a ringmaster Imperial with a profile fuselage, and that was quite neat. The variation on a ringmaster having a slick sort of curvy fuselage was quite nice. The Imperial one.
Did y'all get any video of your flying?
I think I've got some videos there. I'll have to send you a link, but I haven't posted that much. Yeah, the pipe's really well blended in. Yeah, looks really nice.
Jamie says he and a buddy got 5 flights before they got bored.
Yeah, I'll grab our models as well. Sparky's
One of our guys on Cox Engine forums built about 3 different ringmasters, and he put them on. They were built with reed engines, Cox reed valve engines, and he ran the reed valves on bladders, which I've been told can't be done yet. I took a parts box Killer B on a scratch built half-A Mustang a couple of years ago when we had the reed speed contest where we videoed it, mailed it in, and I think Larry Ringer judged the times for us. And other than the contest director, who was way ahead of me, the guy that started and ran the whole contest, I came in first place. Other than him, I'll call it a first anyway. And that Killer B I ran it on a bladder, and it screams. They run, Cox engines usually, no matter how good they're rumbling, they'll have a regular stumble in them come around throughout the flight. And on the bladder, there's nothing like that. There's no stumble. It just screams from the get-go till it runs out of gas. And
I gotta go to bed, guys. I'll see you later.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see you later. Steve start talking about half-A and Sparky bails on us.
Yeah.
I should pull out my models anyway, and I'll show you our ringmasters that we built.
All right.
Oh, there's one.
One's got a little bit more detail on it, but they've all got Enya 45s.
Oh, yeah. That's a pretty rugged looking ringmaster. Let me click that up for the YouTubers. There y'all go.
Yeah, they're all standard size ringmasters, the standard construction, just built per plan, but not per plan, but per kit. I use one kit as a copy kit. And
that's an Enya 35 or 45?
Well, that's the 35 on that one.
Yeah.
And then Otto really gave his one a workout. He put it on the ground a couple of times. Already, Otto's ones, he was practicing inverted, and it ran out of fuel on him, and he stuck it on its nose.
Yeah.
And he's gone for stripes underneath it as well.
At least it's got a springy needle valve stem.
Yeah, and that's another 35 in you. And they've got that Brodeck covering, the iron-on, dope-on covering, the iron or the shrinking covering. That I can't remember what it's called now, the Brodeck covering, but it's a bit like the old SIG coverall.
Yeah.
You glue it on.
With that torpedo prop on it.
Yeah, it's the old Tornado prop. He flew it with that. It worked well. But for what they were doing, the other one kept breaking props, and Otto didn't break a prop, obviously, with that. As a stunt trainer, they're good. And for my one, I ran out of Brodeck covering, so I used like a silk or a nylon, but it didn't really shrink much. But it meant that the model didn't want to walk. And my one's got the 45 on it. I'll pull the tissue off.
Is that one of Alina's scarves or something?
I got it from Spotlight, a fabric place, and little stars on it. And it
Superstar Ringmaster,
Night Flyer or something like that.
Yeah, I just chose a blue to match one of the colors in the stars, and that's the Enya 45. And this one was actually 3 ounces lighter than the others, and it would just be the covering, because this one's just clear dope over it. There's no painting, so it came up 3 ounces lighter.
Yeah.
Even with the heavier 45 engine on it, it was quite a bit lighter. I stuck a piece of tail weight on it on that side. I've got a bit of tail weight to see if I could improve the handling, but it didn't really change it at all. It still pretty much flew the same tail weight or no tail weight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just meant I could swing an inch bigger prop with the 45. And then I had my old Super Ringmaster there as well, but Alina put her hand through the wing while she was holding it. It's just so brittle, the covering's gone really brittle. So I glued it up and it's back on the wall, but it's really, I have to retire it now. The covering's so delicate, you just touch it and douche, your fingers go through it. The old silk's just fatigued.
Oh,
but yeah, the model flew well, but I noticed I've also got a whole lot of slop on the bell crank now. You can move the elevator sort of like this without the control, without the lead outs moving. It's done so much flying. I think it's probably got a factory aluminium bell crank in there, and it's probably hogged out the hole in it.
Yeah, they will wear out eventually.
Jack's commented, and I missed it. He might have commented it before Sparky left, that he liked the video. Sparky posted it of the hobby shop and basement. He can't remember the guy's name now, but I saw Sparky had posted something like that, but I hadn't watched the video yet.
It's an older video of John Miskey's hobby shop. And
yeah, that's it.
Gil did it, and Larry Scarzini's basement, which would have been real interesting.
D. Gill's what Jamie just posted in the chat.
Yeah.
In the video chat.
Or Scarinzi, or however you say that. Yeah.
That's right. He's got it spelled right the second time around. Sure, that's who designed my Super Satan.
Yeah.
That's
it was really amazing bit of footage. I really enjoyed watching that. I have to put it on again for the boys. I was watching it late at night. It was like 12:30, and I was trying to finish off the Ringmaster, put the tanks on them, and I was watching Sparky's video, thinking, I'll have to rewatch this one again.
Yeah, that's what watch later is a handy button that I use a lot when I see a video that I don't have time to look at. I always put it in the watch later list, and then after a while, I'll just sit down and put it on autoplay and go through all of my watch laters, and go to sleep before they finish usually. So watch them again.
Yeah, there's so
sleep faster than YouTube.
Oh yeah, it is definitely a great video, one of the best I've seen too. I really like the one that was posted at the combat meet. Oh, who did it? My brain's not functioning that well. The vintage combat meet, and Al Ferrero shot that video, and he went around looking at all the individual models that were present, and it was just amazing just seeing so many vintage models. There must have been like at least 24 models there, and he videoed each model and explained what each one was, and then we saw some flying as well. But that was the Circle Burners site. My memory is not that great, but yeah, it was a great video, and it was posted on Stunthangar through the Facebook page, and then Tom Luciano posted it again on YouTube. And if you haven't seen that one, that's a definite one to watch. It's just great just to see all the old models, everything from the Super Satans. There was a big pile of Tom's Super Satans all piled up in a holder. He had them all there waiting to fly. And then it had all the other really interesting models, like the what was one of them that struck me. I like the diamond shaped ones, double diamond. They look really nice.
Yeah. I would have never thought that would be a great flying plane, but it is apparently.
I like the combat streak. They look really neat, and the flight streaks look nice as well. They just look so sleek. In the Wombat, that was another one. Oh, not Wombat. It was the there was a werewolf. That was another one that had an unusual shape to it. That was quite stunning. And
yeah, there was one with a really strange shape, but I don't remember it either. But I remember it was a distinctive looking.
Yeah, there's some great stuff on YouTube now and on Facebook. It's so much better than it was 10 years ago, where we weren't posting stuff or watching videos live. It was, you really had to rely on the magazines, didn't you, to get the information. And
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago that you couldn't watch YouTube without the picture stopping and freezing and restarting and stopping. It was impossible to watch a full flight of an airplane. But now it's as slick as it can be. And even no matter how high the quality was that you posted to YouTube, it would always seem like they lowered the quality of the video. But it's a lot better now.
Yeah.
I hope YouTube's around for a long time. I mean, of all the things I've put on YouTube, I would like for it to last a long time. I'd like for it to outlast me.
Yeah. Well, we can already see that already with a lot of the modelers that are gone. That their posts are still there on Stunthangar. Sparky's still alive, and their videos and their information is still out there. It's a great source of information that's preserving it for as long as you can keep the site running, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some modelers have had to relinquish their sites, and others have taken them up and kept them going. Like I know Klaus Marcus in Germany had a really good site, a control line site, and somebody else, I can't remember what his name was. Another chap picked it up and kept it going. And I think it's the same with a lot of the stuff that the Windy posted in the past. Other people have picked it up and kept it going, kept it alive.
Yeah, that's what I assume will happen. Is somebody will feel the same as we do. Don't want to see it disappear, and pick it up, post it somewhere where it'll still be there.
Yeah, these young people like Jamie there to keep it alive, and we're all getting old. I know. I look at my sons and I think, it's the young people that are going to keep it going. Got to keep them interested and show them what we've done, and hopefully they can build on what's there. But it's a shame when people go and all that information's lost. If somebody hasn't recorded or followed their models, and I've got a whole pile of aeroplane stuff the other day from the guy that's gone into a rest home, and it's all free flight stuff. I don't really have an interest in it, but I've got to try and take it to the next meeting and see if somebody wants to pick up and continue what he made.
All this stuff's too much fun to just let it die and not do anything about it.
Yeah. Yep, definitely.
Yeah. Well, the information, the magazines and all are out there. There's so much gear out there now. I suppose it's a bit worrying when you look on eBay and you realize there's so much gear, people that have moved on. But it doesn't mean it's easier than ever now to build planes and fly them. The motors aren't just for the sole possession of collectors. Anybody can afford them now. A lot of the spark ignition gear or the old classic stunt gear, I suppose the electric's done that too. If you want a Super Tiger 60, you can get it very cheaply now compared to what it was a few years ago. LA 46s and all these modelers that have gone electric have tossed in their glow motors, and it was like Bob Hunt, he said it, wasn't he? When he first flew electric, he got all his glow motors and sold them. He didn't want to pursue that any further. He felt he was wasting his time, so it has meant a lot of gears come up.
I was kind of hoping Bob would be on tonight.
He doesn't come on every night, but I enjoy it when he does. He adds a lot to the conversations too.
Oh, yeah. I wanted to ask him how much he gets for the video of Bill, him videoing Bill doing the I-beam, because I finally relented. I've got the PDF for the USA 1, and I picked up a Super Tiger 60 for $40 that I've got a Venturian needle valve coming for. Because that thing's such a big airplane.
I forgot my snacks. I'm going to step away for just a second. I'll be right back.
Michael, did you finish the Hurricane, I think, that you were building a while back?
No, I'm going to finish the two I'm working on, and then I'm going to get the USA 1 plans built, and that's going to be the first I-beamer for me, I guess. It's going to be huge, but oh well.
It just becomes a problem to
That's
store.
one of his best, that's for sure. It won 2 world championships and 2 NATs, so it's a good flying airplane done right. I have no doubt I'm not going to build it anywhere close to as light as Bill Werwage built it. So that's why we landed and got a Super Tiger 60 because it's probably going to need it.
Well, so even if your wing loading's a bit higher, they'll still generally do the stunts. Maybe not as crisp, but they'll do the maneuvers. And just put a bit more horsepower in, a bit more nitro in, or whatever it takes to prove the odds.
Yeah. Because that USA 1 wing is 62.5 or 63 inches and over 700 square inches. It's a big wing.
You need some serious horsepower, yeah.
I'd be curious what Bill's original USA 1 weighed. He flew it with Super Tiger 46, but from everything I've ever read, Bill did not leave his engine standard at all. And he always ran a lot of nitro, it sounded like back then.
Yeah. Well, there's a huge difference between a reworked engine and a standard one, especially when you look at a fairly sedate radio motor. They're not really working hard. So, Jamie,
I guess maybe the only exception is the old V-Series Super Tiger 60. The timing's good on it. As long just put a Venturi and a needle valve on it, and it's pretty decent engine as standard.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't need a lot of work, and they're very light. They're very light compared to like the bigger Super Tiger 60. The what do they call it? Instead of the V, it's the G version. It's got an 8-bolt head. They're a much more chunky motor.
Yeah, it's the small case 60.
Yeah, they're very light. Yeah, I suppose they built a 51 in that size originally.
Yeah. I think there hopefully is enough room in a USA 1 nose. I noticed that's a really narrow fuselage from what I'm seeing.
Well, you just rework the formers if you have to. Just make a little bit more room.
Yeah. He's back.
I'm back.
Yep.
There.
Jamie said was talking something about building a jig or getting a jig before you left. You typed in something about a new jig for building of wings. And I need to think of a jig to build some accurate wings. Bob's lost foam wing jig for a gypsy. Yeah.
I think I am going to, after I get back home from whatever I have to do, I'm going to get that glass that I still haven't laid on top of the table in the shop and get it on the dining room table. Last winter, I thought I was going to do some building in there and got the fuselage in and never did much to it. But I think the wing's a different story. If I lay the glass out with a couple of pieces of sheetrock on top of it, then I know exactly what I need from the shop to lay out in front of me, and it's not that much stuff. As opposed to when I'm doing the fuselage, I didn't really know what all I needed from the shop, and I just never did get it going. But with the wing, I think that's just a repetitive process, and so hopefully I can make some good use of my indoor housebound time after I get back this winter. I call it winter. I hope I'm back in the house before winter, but I'm sure I probably will be.
Hopefully.
Yeah, winter's December 21st, for Christ's sake. It ain't gonna be that long.
Yeah, The building season goes quite quickly, though.
Yeah, it does.
Building season gone, and we're into summer mode now. It's a lot drier and hotter now. We've had some really nice flying sessions, but I wish I got more built over the winter break. But there's everything else crying out for work now. I've got to get out and work on vehicles, and I was just trying to hook up an implement on the tractor before and did my back in. And little Max was trying to help me put a rotary hoe on the back of the tractor, and oh heck, I'm just happy to sit here and not have to move too much. My back is absolutely killing me, but yeah, all that heavy work is not fun.
Changing the tools on that equipment can be kind of difficult sometimes, can't it?
Very difficult, yeah. The modern equipment's got the quick hitches, and they can just sort of drive up to the implement and load it on, drive up to the bucket or the front end loader and hook it on, and it's so much easier. This is a very old Same tractor. I wasn't using the John Deere. I wanted to just do. I
wonder, is it really as easy as that with the new equipment? It's just clicking it into place.
Yeah. Yeah, if it's well designed, yeah. If it goes wrong, it can be a real pain. I remember one time I was helping a friend try and get a front end loader on, and he got it well and truly stuck. One hitch didn't go in place, and there was no easy way to move it, and it was a nightmare.
What about after you get the metal parts hooked up? What about the hydraulics? Have you got quick connects on the ends of the lines where you can just snap them on?
Yeah, like air hoses, basically. They're very easy to do. Yeah. Most of it's well sorted now. If something goes wrong, though, then it can take a huge amount of time. That's the worst thing. You've got a seized bearing or something breaks, and you just realize, oh, this has stuffed me for the whole day, or until I get somebody else to help me fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might be easier. Well, if you've got the kind of money to do it, to just buy a different machine with a bunch of machines with different tools on the front of them and never have to change them. That would be nice.
Yeah.
The other thing that happens farming related is breakages. Things just break. You hit a post or you hit a trough, or you run into something, or you hit something, and then you have a breakage, and then it's the time to repair it. Or you send off the boys to go and use the ride-on mower, and it comes back busted, and you just think, here's another big repair job, and something else to repair. But tractors, the repair jobs are normally a lot more expensive and a lot bigger than any ride-on mower.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me to watch these guys when I watch Gold Rush or one of those shows. When they get a busted track or a buried in the mud set of tracks, how many possibilities there are for actually taking care of that work. I mean, it's amazing to me that it could be done at all, and they find ways to do it. Sometimes you're using another machine as muscle to get some of that stuff done.
Yeah.
Do y'all get Gold Rush on the Discovery Channel in New Zealand?
I've never looked, but I know you've mentioned it. I'll have to have a look, because if it's there on YouTube, if the Discovery Channel is brilliant. The amount of stuff you've been able to watch from the Discovery Channel over YouTube.
Yeah, I'm sure the Discovery Go app will let you watch a lot of shows that come on that channel anywhere in the world. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't see why it wouldn't be.
We actually watch quite a lot of US-based stuff here because they've made it accessible. Like This Old House, the different American shows, we enjoy watching it here. Whereas the BBC say, oh, we don't want people offshore watching it, and so you get a lot of pirated stuff that's viewable through the intermediaries that have reposted it, but the BBC themselves don't seem to want to have their material rebroadcast over YouTube.
Now, we've got a network called BBC America, so I guess that's whatever the BBC wants to show us, but we get things like Doctor Who and all kinds of and they show old reruns of American shows too, like Star Trek, but sometimes BBC America is pretty entertaining.
Yeah.
Hawkeye BBC disappeared one of their documentaries that I really enjoyed watching. was the one on the reconnaissance Spitfires called Operation Crossbow, and they completely disappeared that.
I read about one particular pilot and reconnaissance plane, and it was a pretty good story, but I don't remember seeing a series or anything like that about it.
This was just a single documentary. These were it tied into
that's what, yeah, we watched.
Discovering the German rocket factory, among other things, and how many lives that conceivably saved.
Yeah, actually,
saved.
That's why we're both talking about the same thing. Yeah,
because if they hadn't had a little prior warning, there'd been a whole lot more casualties.
Yeah, we had a good documentary on the de Havilland Mosquito, where they're using them for reconnaissance. Similar role where it wasn't just for bombing, but it was really for reconnaissance where they shined. And just a lot of people say it's not as glamorous, but as being a fighter or a bomber, but reconnaissance is obviously a very important before you can even bomb or do anything else.
Mosquito is the fastest prop plane at the time, wasn't it?
Nope.
Spitfire
was faster, but
well,
it was basically a Mark 9 or a Mark 8 with
but those,
guns.
Those Spitfires were completely undefended too. They didn't have guns or anything, did they?
No. Took some guts to be one of those pilots, I'll tell you what.
And keep your pedal to the metal the whole flight.
Actually, they couldn't. They talked. I'm trying to think. One of the pilots they talked to about that. There were U.S. pilots that did that too, with the British. But
yeah,
once you're on a run taking pictures, you have to stay straight and level over it.
But do you have to run a specific speed? Do you have to run a specific speed for the cameras to work right, or
probably a specific speed, and you've got to stay totally straight and level.
I was thinking they ran wide open throttle the whole time, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody over on YouTube will answer that. It looks like Jack's the only visitor we've got. Let me go check and make sure I didn't screw up the link. Well, no, we got 10 visitors. When I first opened the show, I screwed up the link in the post on Stunthangar and had to go back and repost it, but it was only 10 seconds later. But it looks like there's usually a whole pile of people hanging around waiting when I'm busy logging in before I click the live button. I can see that they're all back there. So I'm gonna check Stunthangar for a second.
Okay. Does anybody know how much Bob gets for his DVDs?
No, sorry.
I don't know.
Because the one I want to get, so I get some decent information if I'm going to do a USA 1, is I want the one with him, with Bill building the Aries. Because if there's anybody that's the master of an I-beam or beam wing, it's Bill Werwage.
That thread's got 7 views, so somebody's looking at it.
Just a bit slow tonight, then.
What'd you say, Gerald?
Oh, just a bit slow tonight, I suppose.
I guess so. Lately, Monday nights have been the slower of the 2 nights. Sometimes it changes, though. Sometimes Monday nights are during the year, it seems. Sometimes Monday nights are the more lively of the 2.
I'll come back here.
What do y'all want? Y'all want Mike and Ike or Sugar Babies? I think we're going to. Well.
I want a beer. What sort of beer, Jamie? I have to say I like the Budweiser. It's always a nice beer, but yeah, beer doesn't. Michael,
What about a Foster's? Hadn't seen that.
Foster's is Australian beer, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't. But yeah, a lot of us Kiwis don't like the Australian stuff, but I quite like the Fosters.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people
understand that. But
We had an Australian visitor a couple of weeks ago. His name was Mark. I wish I'd caught his last name, but I didn't.
oh wow.
Oh, thank you, Al. Maybe he'll come in here with us.
Huh.
do the same.
He'll help liven it up a little bit. I'm sorry, I just got no material for you for tonight.
I'm sitting here in pain. My back's telling me, I didn't have a good day, but
Yeah.
I'm smiling.
I'm sitting here cold, and I'm just kind of tonight too. I may call it quits here pretty quick. I was kind of hoping to catch Bob, but if he's not going to get here, I'll
try catching him again.
Supposedly we're going to get snow tomorrow morning.
Oh, we've got a hurricane coming this way.
Yeah.
It's actually coming around in the Gulf and headed for the panhandle of Florida, and then it's supposed to turn northeast and come right through here again. Back out into the
hurricane or a tropical storm or what? I didn't catch all of that.
I think it's a tropical storm right now. I'm not sure what the category is. I'll grab my phone and look at it in a minute. But it's going to.
How bad did that last one mess you up?
I was very close to the line of bad luck, but I lived just on the good side of the line of bad luck.
Oh,
Those people just north of us and all the way to the coast and part way to the mountains. They were just in the week or two after the Hurricane Florence, they gradually flooded higher and higher and higher, and the floods just moved from the upstate all the way, talking about North and South Carolina, all the way lower as the rivers and lakes all filled up like a domino effect. And so it went in stages and just finished flooding down around the coast of South Carolina last week, I think.
Wow. That's kind of what I heard, is it hit and just sat there for a while. And that
it really was moving at 3 or 4 miles an hour when it came through, all the way from the coast through Columbia, where I live. And then it started to speed up a little bit in the days after that. But it was raining like a son of a bitch. But it didn't rain that hard on us here in Columbia. It was a rain, but it wasn't a heavy rain, and it was just steady enough to where it ran off and didn't flood the yards, the shop, and the roads. My road did get a little flooded for a day, but that is in comparison to 20 miles north of where Columbia is, for 100 miles that way and 100 miles that way. Up as farther than that and all the way to the coast, it was bad. I mean, it was bad flooding. Bridges, roads closed, houses up to their windows in water, and just terrible.
Hopefully this doesn't do the same, and hopefully it doesn't do it to you.
Yeah, I hope it's in the same paintbrush coming back again. Finish the job.
That's right. Be back. Yep.
See you in a bit.
Jack said, Foster's is made in Texas for the US market, is what Jack stated. Must be popular to make it in Texas.
Yeah.
Has Charles been on much lately? I haven't seen him for a while too on Stunthangar.
On Friday.
He was on Monday.
Away forever.
Yeah, Charles.
I finally got the cowl that came out right.
Charles has been working in his shop a lot lately, and that's why he hadn't been here as much. Hey, Al, how you doing tonight?
Hey, Rusty, good. How you guys doing?
We're okay. We're kind of in a rut tonight. We hadn't really had any breakout discussions, so maybe you can stimulate us, Al.
I don't know. I mean, you know.
Have you watched the Friday show?
Yes, yeah. I'm sorry to hear about your health problem, your hip.
Oh yeah, good. I'm glad you guys know about it out there because
That's a bummer.
I don't know how that's going to affect Huntersville. If I'm at Huntersville, all I'll be able to do is sit on what I call wheelchair row, which is under the shed, the first line of picnic benches that go all the way down from one end to the other, and it looks directly at the upper circle. So,
right, yeah,
I'll sit there with all the other geezers and watch.
Yeah, Tom Luciano said he's definitely going. So,
yeah, I know that.
Yeah,
I would hate if I couldn't come.
Yeah,
because he's coming. Because I know he's coming because I, you know, kind of pestered him about it for a while, you know, reminding him, come on down, Tom. And now this. So we'll see how it works out. I'm sorry, I can't help it though.
Well, you know, whatever happens, happens. But
yeah,
you know, I was with them Sunday. You know, I was with them Sunday. We went to the Philly Flyers for a combat contest.
Oh wow!
So
I love those guys. That's a fun group.
Yeah, we had a good turnout. There was 12 of us, you know. So
were the cooks there?
Yes, yep. Sean and Ken, yep, they both flew. Yep.
Good.
They did good. But yeah, it was a good time. Weather was great. That was the first time I was there, and they have a nice field, you know, where they can fly combat and stuff.
Yeah,
that's, you know.
How far are they from local neighborhoods and stuff? They must not have any noise ordinances.
Yeah, they're in an industrial area.
Oh, cool.
And then there's an airport nearby.
Yeah. Also, that's a whole neighborhood where people get paid to make noise.
Yeah. So you hear all the airplanes, you know, flying, you know, taking off the jets, the Lear jets.
Yeah.
And choppers coming in and stuff like that. So it's you know. So
that's what I loved about Fort Jackson is never know what was going to be flying over. We looked up one day and there was a Predator drone flying over us.
Yeah, wow.
And one day we were up on the field and you can barely see the road through the pine trees in the parking area out there at the fort. And me and Wayne were flying patterns, and all of a sudden we heard the whomp, whomp, whomp of a Chinook coming, and finally it got closer and we looked over and all we could see above the treetops, and we're kind of on the runways kind of elevated from the parking area, and all we could see was the rotors of that helicopter, you know, the twin rotors of the helicopter going down the road past the field. And we're thinking, damn, boy, this guy's about to clip some pine trees. And he made an abrupt turn after because there's a berm at the end of the runway, each end of the runway, and then some other training area, and there must be enough room for a Chinook to fly back there, because he made a hard 90-degree turn, and I thought for sure it was going to crash. Scared the shit out of both of us, and he kept on flying and then rose up and let us see the whole thing. We waved at them. I don't know if they saw us or not, but that was a fun interlude, flying at the fort.
Yeah.
And I've got another picture of us. One time they were playing Army out there and they were using our field, and they would defer to us surprisingly graciously whenever we would come out there to fly and ask us if they needed to leave the field. And also we told them, you know, all we needed just to fly control line, and so they could have everything else, just watch out for the planes. And but they chased each other around with machine guns and shit, and they came through the pits one time. Wayne got a great picture of 3 soldiers coming through armed and running through with M16s or whatever they carry in their hands, and And I think sub captions was we flew air support at Fort Jackson today. But yeah, that was always fun to see what would happen out there. But I think you're talking about stuff flying in and out of the airports. What reminded me of that.
Okay.
Oh, that sounds like a lot of fun. You certainly get a lot more action there in terms of the military than what we ever get now.
I'll have to get those pictures up and show you some of the pictures of crazy stuff I've taken out there. One day there was an Apache sitting in the middle of the runway when I got there. I had no idea an Apache was that huge. I'd seen her. They fly over my house all the time because it's between Shaw and McIntyre, and we're on the landing approach for Fort Jackson or the takeoff. So I get to see them close up. But still, to see it on the ground and to be standing there, that's a big machine. Big, mean-looking machine.
Yeah.
Max. Wow. I've got cookies and a coffee. So hello, Max. Say hello to Al and to Rusty.
Hello.
Hey.
Well,
Y'all have fun this weekend flying your ringmasters?
Yes.
Yeah, I showed them your ringmaster before, and you want to just do a little bit more painting on it, don't you, Max?
Yes.
You want to decorate it a bit more. You flew well.
Yes.
Your brother was a bit more daring, but he planted his one a few times, didn't he? He got very daring on his new model. But it's all part of the fun. You know, Els had a video where I think you were all at the Circle Burner Flyers. You were doing combat with 3 ringmasters or 4 at one stage.
no, that was actually in Philadelphia.
Oh.
That's where I went to the Philly Flyers.
Philly Flyers, yeah.
Yeah, I went to their field, and they sent out an email saying that they're going to try to fly ringmasters, in between the combat. But there was 12 guys there, so we didn't have any real spare time to fly anything in between.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, we decided to say, well, let's just tie streamers onto the ringmaster and fly all 4 of them up at the same time, So
I'd love to be able to do that.
yeah, so it's a lot of fun, and with those guys, they're up for anything, So they're, it's cool, and that was like with Dan Banjak and Rich Martinez and John Cook, and we had enough of support there because you had to hand launch them because the grass was pretty long there, so. But I had an old one somebody gave me, and it had a McCoy Lightning bolt on it, which was really low on compression, and it just about. I'm glad it was the end of the day because my right arm was dead trying to flip that thing to get it to run.
Okay.
Yeah, but I got it going, and we had a lot of fun with it. It was good, and Tom Luciano took the video of the planes flying.
Wow.
We had
it was quite exciting. I have to share the book.
Yeah.
Does Danny ever bring his Fox twin and fly it out there?
Not yesterday, but I did see that. He brings it to Brodak.
Yeah. Did Fox ever build a crankcase like that, or is that just one that he?
No, that's all. He put that together. That's all custom built, custom crank.
Yeah.
He built all that stuff. But he did. But yeah, it flies really good. He uses it in old-time stunt.
He's an A&P by trade, right?
No, in profile stunt. Yeah. What's that?
He's an A&P mechanic by trade, isn't he?
Yeah, airplane mechanic. Yeah. Yeah. No, he's always doing stuff like that. Giant ringmasters, the Dynajet, all kinds of different things. And he does that. He's an expert stunt pilot. I seen him fly everything. Racing. I competed against him in racing and in combat. He's competitive in everything he does. Yeah. So the only thing he hasn't really done, which I was surprised, because he really likes his Fox engine. I thought he was going to do Fox Speed, but he never hooked up to it. I guess it didn't motivate him enough to do it.
Ken was telling me that he was making some spun aluminum spinners at one time, or maybe still does, but because how difficult. Because I'd been asking on the other forum how that's done, and
the spinner or the cows. I know he did the cows. I don't know about the spinners.
the spinners.
Okay. I know he made for his Goblin Comedian. He made that, beautiful cow piece on the front.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a stainless steel or whatever, or aluminum. Looks really nice. He does some nice work. He built some beautiful stunt ships over the years.
I guess his favorite trades, so to speak, of being a mechanic is machinery, because he like machinists. So that must have been one of his favorite areas.
Yeah. Yeah. But he built this beautiful Vista years ago. I mean, I remember when he first brought it out. I wasn't interested in stunt, but I remember him bringing that out. And that thing was gorgeous. That was like one of my favorite planes that he brought out ever. That was a really nice looking plane. And he competed well with it. Won a lot of contests with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jim Lee is supposed to be bringing a new plane to our contest in a couple of weeks.
Who is?
Jim Lee.
Okay.
He ain't. From what I understand, he ain't told anybody what it is, and he's supposed to be debuting it at our contest or something. From what I understand.
Oh wow, that's who's making my Venturi for my 60.
Oh yeah, I love his work. In fact, I bought when he was in Tulsa, I bought 3 of the new little fillet tools that he made, the little ball bearing on the stick.
Yeah. Do those work pretty well?
I haven't tried them, and honestly, I haven't even looked at them since I bought them. I look in the box. I'm like, all right, 3/8, 1/4 inch, 1/8. That's what I want. Or I might have got 1/2 inch, 3/8, 1/4 inch. I don't remember. I just grabbed them, paid them, and went throw it in my box. I ain't looked at them since.
Oh, geez. Well, hopefully you get to use them. I know.
Oh yeah.
Really likes his hand drills.
Yeah, I need to get a couple of those. There's a lot of things I'd love to get, but man, it's like I never have enough cash on me whenever I see them. Yeah. And I don't think, I don't buy anything online because I know I'm going to see them at our contest. So it's like I'll just wait till then.
Yeah, that's the machinist guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The machinist
guy? Yeah.
Yeah. He made me some. The heck were they for? To put the glow plugs, arbors. So where I screw the heads like a head for a glow heads.
Yeah.
So you could put them in a lathe, and then so I could like adjust the head buttons. Turn down the head buttons, or
wow.
So he made, and then or Nelson sells plugs, like blocks of aluminum with the glow plug drilled already for the Nelson glow plug. Yeah. And it's just like a round plug. And out of that round plug, you can put it in the lathe and make your head chamber and make it, to fit any engine. You make your custom head. And Jim Lee made those arbors for me, and they came out really nice. Makes life a lot easier when you're, trying to make adjustments on heads. Take a little bit off the head, so you want it to sit deeper into the chamber of the liner, so you get more compression. Some engines, the head is too far away. I did that all for racing and making engines run stronger. And he does really nice work.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a few of his the little sockets on the handle, the little knurled handle.
Mm-hmm.
For can't even think. Oh, for the needle valve assembly. When you're trying to set it instead of fighting with a wrench, it was not.
Yeah.
And
like
I still got it. His,
get close.
oh, it's Alan had wrench pretty much.
Used on needle valve nuts before. We won't go there.
Talking about a Torx.
But you know, like, oh, it's a little Allen wrench. You know, he got on the different length handle.
Yeah.
You know, for like a 440.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got one of them. That thing, I use that probably the most out of anything. And but yeah, yes.
Nice.
Yesterday morning, I got to get out to the field before we headed out here to Corpus, and like I said, we flew the Ringmaster a couple of times.
Yeah.
But I needed to get some time in on my twister because I was only able to be there for like 2 hours, and it's like over an hour drive for me to the field.
Yeah.
But my buddy, he brought me the impact that he gave me, so I got that at the house. That big old thing. I have to put it in my truck at an angle, and it takes up most of my rack, so I can fit the impact in my twister.
Oh, that's cool.
And I'll probably be getting my Gypsy maybe this weekend or next weekend.
So what are you going to power the impact with?
What's that?
What are you going to power the impact with?
The impact, I'm going to get a Rojet 67.
Okay.
So I got to save up my monies for that.
Yeah,
So, Cheryl, did you get a lot of flights in on the Ringmaster day yesterday?
I put in 2, I think, myself.
How many did you get in, Gerald?
I got in 2. Otto got in 4. Max 2, and Lena 1. So we all did a little bit of flying, but it was Otto that was enjoying it the most. He was ringing his one out and planting it at the same time, but got to that stage where he's pretty much cracked inverted, but occasionally he'll just get up at the wrong time and dong in the ground. And he was flying along inverted at one point, and the motor stopped, and he did the classic trick that people always do when they're learning inverted and tried to get it back upright.
How to tuck it, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It never works.
That's not gonna work.
I wanted to fly Saturday, but the rain was just terrible.
Range.
Yeah, same thing here. I mean, it quit raining for about 2 hours, but everything was just so soaked that we didn't bother. Then the wind was blowing, and it's like we had 2 days of just really crappy weather. Raining again today, and it's supposed to rain tomorrow. And
We had like down here, we had the drastic cool off and kind of misty light rain today, and they're talking. I'm not ready for snow.
It must be early in the season for you to get snow there, Michael.
Yes, definitely way early. Sounds like we're going to have a long, cold winter this year.
I was watching the Weather Channel here, and they said the worst storms of the winter are usually in October.
Yeah.
And they're in like North Dakota and Colorado and stuff like that. They said that there's so much moisture in the air from the southern states, you know, with all this coming up, and then we'll get a big cold snap with a big Arctic front coming down, and there's just so much moisture in the air that I forget, the one snowstorm there in Colorado got like 58 inches.
That actually, the one I remember in 06 or 07, that was down here was in March. February and March are usually wettest months, but the last few years it's been kind of goofy. We had more moisture different months and pretty mild winters for the most part.
That makes sense that the early cold fronts would mix with our Gulf moisture that always comes up. Even, you know, through December, we're having disturbances, and it always shoots it straight up behind the Appalachians and then curls around and heads west some, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, they said it's the most damage because it's really wet snow.
Yeah.
That's when they get all the power outages and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I could see that with North and South Dakota and Montana.
Yeah, up that way. That's what they said. You know, Colorado, because they got some high mountains that really lets loose
If
there.
we get a storm like that, it gets pretty bad, but usually we don't have them. Our worst or wettest months are February and March, usually. Usually. But there's another statement about Colorado that way. Give it 5 minutes, it'll change.
Yeah, they said what February. It's like February is like the worst down south. That's when the cold fronts will reach way down, and they'll get like an inch of snow and shut down the whole state of Georgia. But
I'm in extreme southern Colorado, so the northern front range probably gets more earlier than we usually do.
Is it mountainous where you live?
Yes. Yeah,
Does anybody
live up in the hills? I live
then on the East Coast, it's just like hit and miss. I watch that all the time. How it'll be like 50-some degrees there in New Jersey and shit. Next thing you know, it's cold and they got a big ass snowstorm and nor'easters and all that shit. Then it warms up again, and
you can live here. You can live anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, we go from like 30 snow to 90 to 90 degrees, and black ice. It's and like you're saying about, like you're saying about the trees. When it's wet snow like that, it's usually when there's been a lot. It's warm out, so all that wet snow gets on the trees, and trees falling down and power lines and all kinds of crazy bushes. You lose all your good shrubs.
I guess they can't bury the power lines up there, can they?
They're starting on all the new stuff. Like where I live, my power lines are buried, but the power comes in from where where the power lines are on poles. And I don't know. When I first moved where I live now, there used to be like a power outage like once a week. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, we've had two here. That's the same thing. All my power lines, everything's underground, except it feeds in from the old shit. And that's where they lose the power all the time, about a mile away.
Yeah, because where I live now, I have well water. So all growing up in my life, we always had city water. So the power goes out, you have no water, and I had four babies in the house, and we're like, oh man, we got no water. So that was back in 2000. So that's when I bought myself a generator and wired up the house to, basically for water.
Yeah, I was gonna do that, and I never did. But it's like if there's a big ass snowstorm, even a snowstorm, but big ass thunderstorms coming in, I'll fill up the tub.
Yeah.
Just fill up the tub so I have water to flush the toilet and stuff like that. But
but here it was, it was going out all the time. And they blamed it on squirrels on the trees or on the power lines or something.
Suicidal squirrels.
Squirrels nesting.
Does anybody have an old Froome needle nose 2-inch spinner?
What kind of 2-inch spinner?
The needle nose.
A Fro?
A Froome.
Yeah.
Oh,
Froome Vico.
Oh.
No, Froome wasn't Vico. I actually managed to pick up a 1 3/4 needle nose Vico that I've got on that Super Tiger that's going on Excalibur. That may be a real handful.
I mean, I always see them on eBay, the 1 3/4. I'm looking for a 2-inch.
Yeah.
Because I like the needle nose, and depending on the weight of it, and if the gypsy, if my gypsy's tail heavy or not, with that 46 LA in it, I want to put a needle nose on there.
Yeah.
I bought one years ago off of Randy Smith. He has his own, real nice one.
How does that needle nose attach to the prop boat?
It has a back plate. Back plate, but it has the adapter.
It has an adapter nut, and
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
and then the center part of the needle nose screws in.
Correct.
Yeah.
You know, I know
I have two Vico spinners, but they're heavy.
well, Brodak makes a pretty nice spinner.
I bought a True Turn spinner. Holy, that thing is so heavy. I bought it for my Vector. I put that on the front, and it wouldn't turn. So then I had to. It wasn't the spinner itself that was heavy. It was the back plate and the adapter nut. That adapter nut alone weighs over an ounce. You know, that big that they use.
Dave Brown adapter nut. Yeah.
No, not Dave Brown. True Turn.
Yeah.
Oh man, their adapter nut weighs a ton.
Yeah, you can buy aluminum ones now, but they charge extras. I don't know why they just don't.
But even their back plate, I didn't see the option for aluminum one. But even the back plate weighs a ton. They don't have it light. You know, it's not solid. You know, so I bought. I rated one of my El Cheapo, spinners that had one of those cheesy back plates on it, aluminum ones, and a little tiny spinner nut. It takes a 440 bolt in the center to hold it on, and it took all the ounce off the front, and now the plane's flying good again. You know.
Yeah, I actually, the first thing I had to have Jim do for me when I got this was I bought some other adapter nuts for this thing, and it didn't fit.
Hold it up again, Gerald.
Then
What
made
you got?
the aluminum
The
order
other
28 on both sides for that.
they were K&B adapter nuts, they're aluminium, and I got them on eBay, and they were very reasonably priced.
Oh.
Yeah, just got to keep looking on eBay, and hopefully something that will come up. They were portable.
Nice. Yeah, those are nice looking ones. Yeah.
They're very light. Yeah.
The one I got was, I think it's C&B or C&D spinner.
Yeah.
Well, Brodak doesn't make the needle nose, a true needle nose spinner, but they make a nice spinner, and it has the aluminum adapter nut, stuff like that comes with it.
But Randy Smith's is a real piece of art. That thing's beautiful. The needle nose spinner.
Yeah.
I don't know if he makes the needle nose anymore or not. I know they're illegal.
Oh, they're illegal?
Yeah, needle nose spinners are illegal to fly in a contest.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the FAI it is.
Yeah, for FAI. For speed, they probably still use them.
My favorite decent looking spinner is it's sold by Great Plains with their label, but it's made by Dave Brown. Aluminum spinner for $16, and you got to get his adapter nut too, and it's got a hex bolt that goes straight through the nose, which doesn't look too bad, but it's a pretty good looking spinner, and it's pretty light too, except for the adapter.
Yeah, and from what I understand, Brodak's 2-inch spinners, the ones that are already cut, that you can get the plain one where you can cut it yourself, which I don't want to go through that hassle. But the ones that stock that's already cut won't fit on a Thunder Tiger 11 4.5 prop.
Oh.
I hear you have to modify it.
Yeah, you got to grind on it. That's with a lot of the stuff, though.
Usually, all of them you've got to cut them. If you've got a wide blade prop, you've got to cut them. You've got to grind them out.
Yeah.
Unless you go to True Turn and they have. That's why I went to True Turn, because I'm trying a 3-blade, and they cut the slots for you already. So.
Yeah, they cut, and if you tell them what propeller you're using, they'll cut the slots for that propeller.
Right.
So what if I could give Brodak a call and say, like, I'll order a 2-inch spinner, if they could cut the fit for 11 4.5, because they sell the 11 4.5 props, so they should be able, I would imagine. And if not, I mean, I can just get on it with a Dremel, that ain't nothing.
Well, what I like about the Brodak one is that if you use Jim Lee's little sander thing, and you sand it, that puts the thrust washer flush with the front end. Well, then the Brodak actually has a little lip, and when you put that on there, it gives you your gap automatically.
Mm-hmm.
And with the True Turn, I went and added sandpaper on it. So when I sanded it, that's what gave me my gap on Samantha's last airplane, because that's a flat back. That's what I kind of like about Brodex spinners. It has that little step on it.
Yeah, and the Vico, if you got the motor mounted to where you got a very little clearance, it might not be the Vico. I had got a 2-inch spinner off of eBay. It looks like it's like a knockoff True Turn, and it's maybe a ½ ounce lighter than the Vicos, but the way how the back plate is, I had to adjust my motor to try it, and the one flight I tried it, the plane flew terrible. So I guess it put too much nose weight in it. I took it off and never tried it again.
We go through a ton of spinners with the boys. I always stick spinners on, especially if it's an old worn motor and there's no compression. I just stick a spinner on it, even on a combat model. But the boys keep bunting them, and I got some that were like these ones had a back plate where you undo it and the spinner comes apart, but they keep coming apart in the air. Hasn't got any markings on it, and it sort of comes apart in the two pieces.
I've never seen one like that.
Oh yeah,
that's pretty. Who makes that one?
When I bought them on eBay, so I presume they're an American one, but they seem very convenient, very easy to use. You can use it either rotation because it just locks on the back if you put the starter motor on it to start it. But they would sometimes fling off in the air. And then I had another sort like that, with the little screws, but they were very brittle. And Otto crashed one on a combat model, and that's what we had left of the spinner. That's the biggest part.
Does that one come with an aluminum back plate?
No, that one's a plain one. But yeah, it was a brittle plastic.
Those drive me crazy because you got to get that back plate perfect to your prop to get it on. And then you got to play with the two little screws to get it. And then, and then you get it all tightened up, and then you go check to where you want your prop. And you said, it's not where you want it to start it.
I know.
Take it all apart, start the process over again.
And then you drop that little screw in the damn.
Yep.
Like, son of a.
I buy the great plane spinners like that. That's exactly what you're talking about, Al.
Yeah.
Yes, they look good.
They're light as could be. Actually, I'm using the back plate off of one of those with the True Turn because the back plate's so light.
Yeah.
But yeah, those, every time.
They could at least make the screws magnetic.
Yeah.
They're semi-magnetic, but.
Yeah,
all right, y'all. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna catch y'all Friday.
Okay.
I'll see you later. I'll catch up with you guys also. I'm kind of fading here.
Okay, Mike.
Okay, Mike. Okay, have a good night.
You too.
Yeah, I'm gonna head out here pretty quick because it's been a hell of a long day. I ended up my eye acting up. I go to see the surgeon on that, and they just figured I got some dirt in it or whatever. I get home, I get a call from my mom. She fell and thought she broke her shoulder.
Oh,
so they called 911 when I got there before the ambulance because I only live a couple miles from her. And come to find out, she actually broke the bone clean through just below the knob or whatever you want to call it, the ball.
Yeah.
Well, that was an all-day deal, and then she had to get her medicine, so I had to drive 45 minutes up and back to get her medicine to her. When I get back there, they're hooking up to her heart monitor, and she's got a heart murmur, so now they think that she's got a valve going bad in her heart.
Oh, no.
But she said she's been getting dizzy, and she didn't know why, and they said that could be the reason why. So, and today she didn't know why she fell. She just got up, and she said next thing you know that she remembers, hitting her head and her shoulder. So I don't know how many steps she took or whatever, but she had to take a few of them, but she doesn't remember anything. So I'll find out more tomorrow, how her heart is and all that kind of stuff. But
Did your eyes withstand all that trauma that you didn't expect to have to put it through?
yeah, I mean, I only slept for about 2 hours I never went to sleep till 6 o'clock this morning. And got up and went in and seen the surgeon, but he figured I just got dust or something in it, and it irritated where the incision was at. But he said it looked fine and stuff
Good.
like that. So I don't know what happened, but if I kept my eye open, it wasn't so bad. But if I shut my eye, it just started like almost a throbbing or whatever.
Oh, that sucks.
So I tried it, I thought it was sinuses and this and that. And I tried heat because I thought it was my sinuses were clogged up. That didn't work. And 6 o'clock this morning, I'm like, I wonder if ice will work. So I made up an ice bag and put a towel around it and stuck it on my head. And next thing I know, I woke up and I'd slept for 2 hours. And then had to rush my ass to get to the doctor because I almost missed that appointment. But yeah, it's been a
man.
long day.
Good. Okay. That's for tonight. No more medical talk. That's just too intense for me. My head's so full of medical shit right now. I can't take anymore. So, but good. I'm glad you are looking okay there, Steve.
So when do you find out more?
Well, they hadn't called me yet, so I'm gonna call them tomorrow and get a schedule going. I need to know when, because there's a lot of stuff I need to do to prep and be ready. So I'll find out tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good.
Sounds a good idea getting your building board inside there ready for the building season anyway.
Yeah.
I'll set up.
I hope I can come home right after the surgery. I might have to go to a rehab place. I don't know how that's going to work. But for most of the population, these things have a pretty good turnaround time between surgery and going home. And but like I told you the other night, I'm off the charts. Nobody knows what's going to happen with me. So we'll just hope for the best and do what we have to.
Well, what you need to do is before you go in is the room you're in there or whatever, set that up as a building room. So at least you can get back in there and do a little bit of, may not be able to do any painting, but
I'm sure they'll keep me busy. If I got time to play with an airplane, they'll be kicking my ass home.
Yeah.
No, I mean at home.
Oh, at home. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
As I get the dining room table, I'll just put that new shower door I've got. I hadn't put it on my workbench, so I'll set it on that. And for a wing, I don't have that many things. I got to have glue and sandpaper and yada yada yada. Not that much. Lots of pins, and so yeah, I think I can get it set up and do more than what I did last winter with the fuselage, because it was just stuff. It was a lot of messy work, gluing and everything with the fuselage, laminating, and
well, that you weren't ready. You heard it went in, and you didn't have time to set up anything. You couldn't make it out to your.
Right. That's true. Yeah, I just not set up beforehand. So
yeah, so maybe you can kind of get something a little bit set up so you can play around and.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I can get my son. He'll help me haul the glass in and all the tools and stuff I need. So that's a good idea.
You should get a biplane kit, and that way you can do a couple of wings.
Yeah, maybe. Don't count on it. Steve Brad just showed up. Hey, Steve, I looked for that wing folding video on your YouTube channel, but I didn't see it. But I couldn't tell by the title, and I didn't watch all of them.
Oh, it looks like Steve's got a ringmaster on the table there.
Yeah, this one's indestructible.
Ooh.
Did everybody fly in the ring-a-thon?
Oh, we did.
I didn't.
No, I didn't. It was too bad of weather here, so
yeah,
we were all ready. But
it drizzled. It rained on Sunday, and we still flew through it. But we had a good day turnout on Saturday, and pretty decent turnout. A lot of fun on Sunday. But this one here, This is the indestructible Ringmaster. I bring this one out and just let anybody who shows up and says, "Can I try it?" I let anybody fly this one. It works out pretty good. And the reason why I call it indestructible is the plane's over 25 years old. It's been repaired more than maybe 30 or 40 times in that time span. The whole plane's been rebuilt. We've had a new fuse put into it already. Cover right on the wing, which keeps it really stern. For the wing, it keeps it nice and intact. Body's painted, tons of fiberglass on it, loads of epoxy. So it keeps getting heavier, and I just keep putting a bigger motor in it. Now it gets powered with a OS Max FP40.
That'd be a nice motor for it.
Does that run as nice as a 35S?
The 35S, I think, has a better run to it. The S motors and the H's I liked a lot better. They have a better run to them and a better 2.4 brake to them.
I've only got one 35S. I love the way it runs.
The FPs, I find they got the power that you want, but they like to scream.
Yeah.
If you really wanted to get them to react and work well, they like to scream. They like to really move. You try to really run them richer and get a 2.4 brake out of them on a rich side. They don't really have the guts as well.
Yeah, I got one.
Like that, and they got the power through them.
I bought it for $5, and somebody made a basswood fuselage. The thing is heavier than hell, but I always let people who've never flown before or whatever take it up, and I replaced the covering. We'll add, because the wheels have been through the covering like, I don't know, 4 or 5 times, but it never seems to break it.
Well, I got tired of
stick it in the ground, take it home, clean out the old NU35, and bring it back out. So I've been doing it for about 6 years with that thing.
I mean, if you look up close enough to it, you can see the body fractures and cracks all around on it, and the whole tail and everywhere. So yeah, it's loaded with epoxy and tons of fiberglass all over the whole nose. You can lawn dart this thing straight in, and the worst that's going to happen to it is you'll break a prop, which is exactly what one guy did this weekend. He was doing lazy eights. He stalled out over the top of his head. It came straight down at him. I told him to catch it, but he was too chicken and he ran out of the way. It piled straight into the ground. It made more damage to the ground, and I shook it and wiggled it out of there. Nothing happened to the airplane. Broke the prop, put another prop on, the next guy was up.
Yeah.
Well, this thing takes a beating. You know,
Okay,
I'll tell you,
I'm going to get off here, and I'll see everybody Friday.
Oh, okay.
All right. See everybody later.
All right. Take it easy.
Good night.
Night.
Yeah, Rusty, you need to stock up your room like Scarinzi's basement.
Yeah.
Yeah. So did he do very well in the bike industry? Because they show him with his selling push bikes at the start of the video.
Yeah.
And that was his main occupation then, selling, running a bicycle business.
Yeah. I guess you could see in his garage he had all the bicycles, stacked up to the ceiling.
Yeah, and he did 2 cars. An interesting, was it a Buick or something? A early 60s Cadillac. Yeah, 2 Cadillacs, and he had a later model Cadillac.
Yeah, that was, I think they say it was, it was 69 when that video was taken. But I was over there like probably about 3 years ago, and there's probably twice as much stuff that you saw in his basement than in that video now, hanging from the ceilings and stuff like that. But,
I need to watch this. I got the notification that it was posted, but hadn't seen it yet. But several people have said it's pretty good.
Yeah. It's cool. He has like all the Super Saiyans there that he did when he was, you know, building them, and the 1 through 15 has them labeled. And when he was designing it, stuff like that. That's all pretty cool.
So everything was all silk covered back then, and he's really good at doing that.
Yeah.
Are all of his Super Saiyans yellow?
Yes. Yeah. They're all the ones I saw were yellow. Yeah. Yeah.
I'll have to order the plan, and I'll have to build one. I have to commit myself to building a Super Saiyan. I can see I've just got to do it. So at least I can then say I've flown one if I do it.
Mm-hmm.
If you want a plane that's pretty similar, I think the Voodoo is easier to build. I hear that anyway.
Much easier. Yeah, much easier.
I've got a Voodoo, so maybe I should do that first. I've got the plan for the Voodoo, and I started assembling the materials. I had a lot of difficulty getting the leading edge, but I managed to get the leading edge material together. When I did the Ringmasters, I had to get the 1-inch form leading edge for that. So I bought a few extra leading edges so I could do some combat wings. So I'd be quite keen to follow that up and build some of those classic models.
Yeah, and you wouldn't want to monocoat a Super Saiyan, because it relies on the silk to keep it strong, the wing strong.
Oh, does it really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where the Voodoo, a lot of people monocoat those.
Yeah.
They're pretty beefy.
So what tricks do people use to get their silk tight? In the past, I put tissue on first and then silked over the tissue, but that's a lot of work and probably a lot more weight. How would people get silk tight? And any tips there, Al?
That's not my specialty with that. The tissue and silk. What they're doing is they're using that. I forget what it was that they're using. They're putting the Cartier's covering over it, the SLC. But they're is it silk? It's not. I forget what it was. I don't think it's silk span. It's something else.
Is it SLC? Is that it?
Well, SLC on top, but they're using some kind of silk span product on the bottom. Some kind of so it's like translucent. Jim Vergani does that really well. He did a few planes like that, and it came out really nice. But I'm more of an engine guy than a building. Building.
Guru.
Yeah, all those tricks. Yeah, I leave that to Jim and Tom. That stuff. I'm a more basic builder.
Yeah.
When I get into all the exotic stuff, it's.
I could say the same for myself. I just don't have the drive to get into beautiful stunt ships. I love them. I wish I could build one as easy as I build my profiles, but profiles are still within my flying ability wheelhouse too. So, if I ever got past that, I might change my mindset about building beautiful full fuse planes, but it ain't happening now.
And then painting them is easy for me because I have all the products at my,
Well, yeah, you're in the business of knowing where to get that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, I saw Steve. You had that what finish one, the Acme clear coat last week. You were
I remember him holding that up. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good stuff. I use that on the cars.
Oh, the Formula One. Acme Formula One. The automotive clear.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a Acme Formula One. It was called with a hardener.
But the stuff that I use says on the can, it says ultra brilliant or super brilliant. They got that's their best one, and it works really, really good on cars anyway.
I got this one over at Napa.
Yeah, they have 3 different types. They got like a real fast drying one. It's like a one that super, I forget, just short, dries really quick. And then they have a medium one, and then they have one that's called Super Brilliant.
Well, can you make the drying procedure faster if you change it and add more hardener to it?
Well, they have different hardeners
for different speeds, yeah.
Right, for different speeds. But the fastest one is called, it's a spot clear or something they call it, and that one dries really fast. Like, I mean, 20 minutes, you could touch it.
Yeah, I've used that. It's good because you don't get the bugs sticking in it as much if you're painting it outside. The slow ones, and you've got
if you're in an environment like that. But the other stuff is, if we're spraying a larger area, the slower one, and and it lays out nice. No orange peel. You spray it nice, and then you just pull the paper off, and you're done. You don't have to, polish it. No polishing needed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that stuff comes out really nice when you do that. You get a little overspray, it rubs out real easy.
Yeah. Yeah, we try not to rub out anymore. It takes a lot of time and work and a lot of mess.
Yeah, Sparky was talking about rubbing his new plane, and he said it would take 100 hours. Or he pointed to Junar and said, this one will look like that, but it took 100 hours to get to Junar to look like that.
It was, like, I grew up on lacquer, painting cars in lacquer, and it would take, like 8 to 10 hours to buff out a car in lacquer, like a medium-sized 4-door sedan, to do it right and make it look good. And, today with the urethanes, you prep it right and spray it right. You don't, you just pull the paper off it and it looks great, Or if anything, you have to just do a little denibbing, get a little dust spot or something.
Mm-hmm.
I worked with it white with 3000 and then rubbed it out a little bit and done deal. It wasn't as hard as when I used it, when I did the whole plane with the dope. I put more time into rubbing that airplane out than it took to build it.
Yeah, the only problem with the car paint, it's so heavy. So a lot of, I guess from what I'm hearing, the airplane guys rub it out to get rid of weight.
Right.
You get, but it does add a ton of weight,
Yeah, it was interesting when we built when we built our ringmasters. Oh, sorry. I'll go ahead. With the ringmasters, we built 3 of them, and 2 of them had a painted wing, and they we used the Brodeck covering, the fabric covering, the iron-on covering, and then I used just a silk or a nylon, and I just coated one with clear bitrate dope, and mine was 3 ounces lighter than theirs, and I've got the heavier motor. I've got the 45, and they've got 35, so I was still 3 ounces ahead of the boys' ones with the paint, because I just used clear on my fabric finish.
Right.
It's a massive weight saving just in paint, but their covering material was, that Brodeck covering material is a very open weave. It shrunk a lot, but it just swallowed up the dope and it swallowed up the paint, and it was so hard to get a good finish on it. But at the end, it was more rigid than my silk covering. But my silk covering didn't want to warp the wing. It was so loose, relatively speaking, whereas theirs, it was pulling tight, and it was twisting the wing as it was pulling tight. So pluses and minuses with each type of finish, I suppose. But I just ran out of covering, so I used what I had left, and it was the old silk stuff that I had. But I wasn't expecting that big a weight difference.
When we were doing a lot of racing, clown racing and stuff, we used to monocoat the wings, but the fuselage I did them with car paint because it was really durable, and that small area, it didn't add on that much weight. It was a racing plane.
Yeah.
But then when you got to put it on a big wing, like a big stunt ship, it's that's a lot of area to cover, and you have to be very careful how you spray it on.
You're not going to end up having to put 3 coats of it on. It covers pretty quick. You get away with a coat.
Yeah.
One or two coats on it. You're not gonna apply too much to it.
Yeah, well, best bet is I did it one time on an electric plane, so I didn't have to put that much on it, and I thinned it out, and it came out nice, But with the cars, we take the paint, we smash it on just to get, to get the shine, and we're not worried about weight.
You can put as much as you want on a car.
Yeah. This one's a little racer. It's a little Phantom racer, and it's got automotive paint, but it's a Prismatic, so it's got a metallic powder added to the paint as well. And but it being a racing model, it didn't really matter that it was going to turn out a bit heavier. A little Phantom racer, but you're very durable, ideal for a racing model where you want that durable finish.
Right.
All the clear. But,
when we're racing the models, fuel gets all over the place. You're in a hurry filling the tank, and it spills on it. You start it up, and then the prop blows it all over the place. So it's always
That's what I had where it ate up on the cow, and then when I showed it a few days ago on a few shows ago, the 15% just ate up at the paint.
Yeah.
That's why I want that automotive.
What's more durable, do you think, the Birate dope or the automotive, just a lacquer clear? What would be more durable, do you think? The dope or
clear by far. And you said nitrate, not nitrate.
I'm just wondering, the butyrate dope or just the nitrocellulose, the old-fashioned lacquer paint, because I know lacquer's not fully fuel-proof like a two-pack. I'm just wondering what would actually be.
Not fuel-proof.
Sorry?
Nitrate's not fuel-proof.
Oh, I mean bitrate dope. The butyrate dope. I keep saying it wrong. Butyrate dope or
Butyrate is.
Yeah. Butyrate's fuel-proof.
Is it more fuel-proof though than a nitrocellulose clear?
Absolutely.
Nitrate's not fuel-proof at all, but automotive is and butyrate is.
Yeah, because I've used automotive lacquer paint, and that seems reasonably good, but it'll still peel with raw fuel. I'm just wondering if the nitrocellulose paint, the acrylic lacquer, I should be saying acrylic lacquer is more fuel proof than butyrate.
Oh, I wouldn't know that. I don't know. I never used it.
I know I sprayed butyrate clear over my acrylic lacquer that duplicolor that I've been talking about is acrylic lacquer, and I put butyrate clear over the top of that just to give it some more protection. But then in the front end, I used epoxy. That's on my last couple of planes. That's what I've used.
Yeah. On my Super Satan, I have butyrate clear on it, and I'm running like 40 nitro in that, and you can see from the exhaust, you see the white lines from the the fuel.
Oh yeah, softening runs down.
Right, yeah. So it's on the bottom, and I take some compound and I can polish it out a little bit, but it's still there, but it eats in. But it's but it looks good. It's signs of it's been used.
40 nitro is pretty rough. It's going to heat up pretty quick.
Yep. Yeah. So it worked out well. Yeah, it gave a nice. The plane came out really nice. I'm happy. But we used I don't know. I just was following the instructions. I used Rodak dope, and we used nitrate first. The first couple of coats, to tighten up the silk, and then after that, we used butyrate on top. But from what I hear, you can't put nitrate on top of butyrate.
No, that's what in the stunt community I hear a lot about that, and that is true. You absolutely.
You have to way around. Butyrate on top of nitrate.
Right.
You can do that.
Right. You can't. If you reverse it, the nitrate will eat up the butyrate.
It doesn't work. And that's all I know is it doesn't work. I was told it doesn't work, so I don't even try it. But it was told it's not fuel proof. You don't go the opposite way, reverse.
But it's funny because when I was doing my Super Satan, I brushed on a few coats. I didn't like it the way it was coming out. And then I hung it up. I took it to work, and then I sprayed it. They sprayed it on. And then it was coming out nice, you know. And it got, you know, real nice and wet. And then I was worried about it eating up the nitrate, but it didn't. It came out beautiful, you know.
Yeah, well, I had mine. I was spraying my ring last thing, and you can probably see underneath it. It got a bit of well, it actually doesn't look. I tried to get rid of the blushing that occurred on it underneath it, but it seems to have actually diminished with time. I sprayed it again with a AAA grade thinner, and that seemed to get rid of some of the blushing that I got when I was spraying. But
you could retarder. You know, put a little retarder in, you know, like a cap full of retarder and that'll slow it down. But also like quartz heaters. You know, that's what I use in work. You know, have like those quartz heaters. But that's what, you know, I put that when I did my Super Satan, I put it around put the quartz heaters on the plane. But when I do something home, I have those quartz heaters just like you buy at Home Depot. You know, the ones when you plug them in and they glow orange. They're I use that on you know, on a damp day, and those, you know, you warm it up and gets the blush out.
Either that,
They dry it out.
either that,
One time I had
28,
blush
28,
really bad.
get it really cold.
What's that?
Either that, or turn the AC on and get it really cold.
Oh yeah, well yeah.
You make it really cold. So I used to do it back east. We used to spray when we went in the office or something and turn the AC on and got it really cold in there to get rid of the humidity, because back east you get a lot of humidity. You have to find a way to slow down the drying process, and it likes to blemish a lot really quick.
Okay.
One cool damp winter day, I got some bad blush in my Insignia blue on a plane, and I went back just for the hell of it and tried putting some straight thinner in the sprayer, and that took the blush right out. Boom! It was the color was just as pretty, and the blush was gone.
I mean, that's what you know. Back in the days when I used to shoot lacquer, I had a job, and it was like a red car, and it turned. You know, like it was on a damp day, and it turned like white, snow white on me. So I'm like, you know, so I looked at it, and I just mixed up some thinner and some retarder, put it in the gun, and sprayed that, you know, sprayed it over the door. And you know, the guy the guy, my coworker, he started laughing. He says, you know, the whole thing was, he says, what kind of, you know, that looks horrible, you know. We walked away for 15 minutes, came back and looked at it again. It came out perfect. You know, like it just, you know, it took all the blush out.
Yeah, retarder does that. Retarder is good for that. It slows the process down. It slows the process down and makes it nice and clean. The only thing, retarder is really heavy.
Retarder's heavy?
Retarder's heavy.
I've never used a retarder before.
I used retarder back when I was back east, and you mix that up and you set that in there. Retarder is heavy.
Yeah.
Retarder builds up, so I don't like using it. That's why I'm lucky out here. There's no back out here in Vegas. There's no humidity.
Yeah.
There's 14% at sometimes. I think the highest we ever got one time was 40%, but the average is anywhere up to 14%, 15% humidity. Sometimes it's 5-7% humidity. It's really dry.
Yeah.
But I always had to watch, and I had a humidity meter to keep it under 50% or under, keep the humidity 50% or under, and then you always still had to add retarder to slow the drying process.
Well, you know how it is here in New Jersey.
What's that?
I said, you know how it is here in New Jersey.
Oh yes, very well, absolutely.
And it gets crazy.
Yeah,
it rains all the time. The humidity doesn't leave. It's always raining. There's always humidity in here.
Yeah.
Oh, that was the other mistake I did with this, and that is with the tanks on the ringmasters, I didn't have the time. We were just rushing at the last minute, and I used 2-ounce Dubro tanks, and I used a fixed clunks. I used solid lines to the pickup, and they kept moving. Every time you went to fuel them up, the pickups kept moving around, and I should have used clunks or a single clunk like you do, Rusty, in a vent at the top. That would have been a much safer routine. The fixed clunk moving around.
Screw the cap on, and you put the lines through it, and it tightens it up. It has the gasket and the cap, and you tighten up the set screw in the middle on that tank.
Yeah. I think the bungs were old, and it was all slippery, and every time I moved it, it just kept moving. So yeah, it was a rush. It was a rush to do it.
Yeah.
I was putting the tanks on at 12:30 the night before, and then we shot.
Working with those tanks can be a pain in the ass.
It's like, they're like building a ship in a bottle, right?
Yeah, especially the small ones. Yeah.
Yeah. This, we use those tanks in Foxburg. They required a plastic tank, a Dubro or Sullivan tank.
I like the way they run once you get them going, but yeah, they sure are a pain in the ass.
Yeah. So when we set them up for racing, we use we don't use a clunk. We use, like Gerald was saying, we use the hard line.
Yeah, just to pipe all the way back into down.
And so, we're trying to plumb them so you get every drop of fuel out of them, and put it down in the corner, and then you run the vent up to the top of the bubble, so the overflow.
Yeah.
Because in like when you go to Brodak, normal Foxburg racing was I forget now what it was. I think it's something like 50 laps and 50 laps in a 100 lap or 120 lap final. And Brodak was 100. It was like a 200 lap final. So you needed every bit of fuel. A minimum 3 pits. So to go 200 laps or something, whatever, with 3 pits, you had to fuel. Use every drop of fuel you could get in that tank. You
can cant it out a bit, and that might help a bit to get it out. But I found if you run them flat, they always work better. If you run them vertical, it's harder to put on that back wall. The back wall, it's harder to. But the flat, they work better if you cant it out. You kick out the back.
Really, I run them with the wide side against the fuselage.
Right. Yeah, right. Well, that's how we run them too, because the engine run. If it's harder for it to pick up the fuel if you run them
sideways. They got to reach farther out against centrifugal force and pull that fuel in.
Right. Yeah, and then it's harder for the plane to get off the ground.
Oh yeah, I guess it is, isn't it?
With the combat wings, I run them like that because they're slimmer like that. I can fit them in the wing. On a profile, I normally run them like that.
Okay, yeah, I can see the sense in that. Yeah.
But, yeah, it's just trying to get them working well. It always seems to be quite an art. I know when you've got the flexible clunks in them, Otto always bungs it in the ground, and then I've got to take the tank apart and move the clunk back. Sometimes you can shake
bent back like that and stuck. I've done that before. I forgot to pull out of a wing over in a contest one time. I think I just went to sleep, and it went straight into the ground, just spark right into the ground up to its armpits. But yeah, the clunk line was bent over backwards and stuck in its throat, its own throat. But I pulled that plane out of the ground and flew it again. That's a tough old thing. It was called a Yuki. It had a pine fuselage with a bell crank on top, no canopy or any fancy stuff like that, and a styrofoam wing. That was a good little plane.
The only other problem with these is they're quite long for a profile. Like on the Ringmaster, it's hard to fit in a big capacity. 2 ounces isn't big enough for the 45. So I'll probably try getting some of those Brodak tanks, they've got the tall tank with the little kick out on them, and they're, I think, 3.5 ounces for 3 inches long. They're very compact. They'll work well on the Ringmaster, but otherwise I can't really do a whole pattern. It sort of quits halfway through with just 2 ounces of fuel, and especially if it's not taking all the fuel out of the tank. But yeah, with the combat wings, the 35, the 2 ounces is still a little bit too small too. I was running them with the 35s, but I've got the solid pickup on that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, with the boys flying combat, you don't want a moving pickup.
Where's your overflow? Where do you have it on that tank?
The overflow's at the top corner, inside top corner, and then the pickup's just in the middle of the back.
I know on the Dubro tanks they have like a little bubble on the top of it.
Yeah, so did Sullivan's.
Yeah, or yeah. So they sell Sullivan, I think, sells a little adapter that you can drill a hole in that bubble and put that adapter there. I did that on a tank, but I had to grind the sides of it a little bit to get it in there. So I got every drop of fuel out of that tank. You know, it got it. You know, but they have like a little adapter coming out of it.
I've never seen that.
Yeah, it's
who's building? Anybody know who's building Uniflow tanks, custom made?
Dubro and Sullivan. That's all I.
No, Brodak. That's it.
Brodak makes tanks. You can get tanks to
I think is a tank maker.
But you want a shorter tank, wider wedge.
Say what?
Say it again, Steve.
Looking for a shorter in length, shorter tank with a wider wedge.
Yeah.
For Uniflow, and the one who's custom making those.
I have no idea. Most, the only guy that I know makes tanks around here is Doug, Benedetti.
Okay.
Everybody else, or usually everybody buys a Brodak tank and
buys a Brodak tank. And then I need to buy the tanks to Randy, but the size I'm looking for, he doesn't have that one.
Yeah.
He makes a wider tank. He makes a shorter and a wider tank, but it's 8 ounces. I'm looking for one that's.
One of our guys used to make. I think one of our guys used to make tanks. Have y'all ever heard of Doug Teffinder?
Yeah. So fuel.
Make tanks. He's one of our guys here. But I don't know him that well, actually. I talk to him at every contest, but that's the only place I ever see him.
My brother used to make all my tanks for me. He's really good with the soldering on, very precise. He's very good. But it's a bit much to ask him to make every fuel tank for me. So I normally just order through Brodak or use plastic tanks where I can. But Brodak have got a really good range. They had when you've set it at 40 items, it was like 5 pages of tanks. It was a huge number of tanks.
Yeah, you can go on Brodak's website and they'll have the sizes and everything. But usually you have to probably buy one of their tanks and modify it. You need something special like that.
Yeah, I've always either done that or you took the round clone tanks and you made them Uniflow and you convert them to that. Sometimes you get lucky with them, sometimes you don't. It's a hit and miss. You either get it right or you don't. You could have a major headache on you. But I got an 8-ounce tank that's set up that way that fits in the space, but now I need one made for 6 ounces. And Randy doesn't have one. He doesn't make one up that way. So maybe I got to cut it and modify it.
Right. Yeah.
And if you just have to shorten it slightly, it's not too big. If all the plumbing's there and you've got something to work with, it's always easier to modify what you've got than it is to start from scratch. Especially when you consider most of those commercial tanks, they've got bucks or molds to base them on. Everything's very square. I know when I build my own tanks, I often end up odd shapes. Everything's out of square and they're not pretty and they don't last. But a well-made tank, and I suppose if you're careful not to leave fuel in it, that's the other big thing. You can have a beautiful looking tank, but there's still rust inside because it hasn't been completely drained.
Now, I always, like in clown racing, you always use the 1-ounce tank, and so and trying to get something to run correctly, because we're trying to use a big Venturi to make the engine run fast, but yet it has to run on suction. So you want the plane to come off the ground. So we're always making a tank and moving the pickup lines in different spots, and the uniflow vent, how far you sink it down into the tank. It's all critical. So I have a lot of experience making racing tanks, but not stunt tanks. But you know, it's it's all basically just lining everything up and soldering real good and pressure testing it to make sure it doesn't leak. Stick it underwater and fill it up, with air.
Yeah, pump it up like I'm trying to pop it on the underwater pressure test.
Yeah, I put I'll block off all the lines. I take my 2-ounce syringe and push on it as hard as I can in a pot of water. And
I put the plastic hemostats on it and leave it for about 20 minutes too, but if I got time.
And I just push on it as hard as I can, and you actually see the tank, expand.
Yeah, it's kind of scary.
Really,
no bubbles, it's good. Then I take baking soda and clean the engine and flush it out, and it's good to go.
Yeah, the worst thing is coming along to a contest and then finding after your first light that you've got a crack in your tank. That's so annoying.
I just use regular old 6040 electronic solder. Is that what everybody else uses?
I think so, yeah.
Well, actually, it's not 6040 anymore. Last I got was some ridiculous, 5842, no, whatever works out to 100, but something weird like that. Just 2% off. Besides from 6040.
Yeah, I have one of our club members was a tinsmith, and he gave me a roll of solder. I don't know what it is, but I've been, it's a big roll of solder, and been using that for a few years now. So, when it runs out, I'll see what it is.
Yeah, mine's 337 or something weird like that.
Yeah.
I don't know what I don't think that's enough to make much difference. It's just tin and lead ratio, so it seems to work. I figured some law changed and they had to change the make. I've got it at Radio Shack. That might explain why it's weird too.
And I have one of those butane soldering guns, soldering irons. They work really well.
I bought one because I thought that would be a good source of heat for working on tanks, and I was disappointed. It didn't do worth a shit. I had to get my old Weller dual heat gun out, and it overpowers everything anyway. So, but yeah, I thought it was a nice one, a Ronson, I think. At Lowe's, and had lots of different flat tips on it and stuff, but it will not do a good job of soldering a tank. It doesn't spread the heat very well.
Wow. No, mine's, it makes it, like you said, too hot, and I have to dial it down.
Yeah.
No, at least the solder that I have, you always have to adjust the tip on it to keep it hot.
I love my dual heat Weller though. That's a good iron.
Every time my Wellers, you would never, they stop getting hot. Then you got to loosen up the nuts and tighten the nuts up again.
That or with a Weller, you got to get a set. Just tie a 7/16 wrench to the power cord, because every time you use it, you need to tighten. Before you use it, you need to tighten those bolts, whether they feel loose or not, or it will not work.
I kept grabbing it and twisting it. Twisting the tip, and all of a sudden it gets hot again.
The butane one, you fill it up, you start it up, and then you just let it sit there.
That was my plan, but it just didn't work out.
Then you don't have a cord. You can move around wherever you want, and you're free of the cord. Because when you're soldering something, then you want to put it in a different position and put it somewhere else. Put it in the vise or whatever. You know,
maybe I'm not using it right. I'll rethink that next time I get have an opportunity to solder something. I might be doing something wrong.
Sometimes it's just you got a dud too. That's always a possibility, and
Yeah.
somebody that's got a similar iron, or just try around and see if somebody's got a success with a better brand. Maybe you just got a dud one, or there's a fault and you don't know it.
Yeah,
But
could be.
I've just been using a standard. It's like 100-watt soldering iron like this, but the tip's almost completely gone now. It's melted away for use. But I had a nice soldering gun that worked well for many years, but like everything, they don't last forever. You end up having to change them out.
I never understood why Weller wraps those irons in that damn Bakelite or whatever it is, plastic. Because I don't think I've ever seen a Weller soldering gun that didn't have a big old hunk busted out of the side of it with duct tape wrapped around it, or electrical tape wrapped around it. Mine have always been like that. And then you shake it, and the transformer in it goes clunk, 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 clunk. It'll still heat the shit out of anything you put it against.
I tell you, I used one of those real inexpensive like soldering pencils. It has like a little gun handle and a little cheap element coming out of it.
Yeah,
that thing got really hot. That thing did the job. I
got a couple of pencil irons, but they're only 25 watts.
Yeah.
Gerald's 100-watt looks just about like the same thing, but his has more horsepower than mine does.
I bought a little 12-volt one I could use on the flying field, but that was useless, a complete waste of time. I thought it would be useful for doing repair work, but no, complete waste of time.
Suck the life out of a battery in no time.
Yeah, you need a butane one for the flying field. That's what I always bring.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I threw it in my flight box.
Yeah, we were at Rodak, and Tom Schaefer's had an accident with his Perky, and damaged the tank, and we started doing an operation on a flying field, and I brought out my soldering iron and we repaired it, put it back together. It was good as new. So it was real handy.
How did you clean it up on the flying field, trying to get the oil off it?
Yeah, just wiped it off, had some sandpaper, cleaned it up, and it worked out good. It gets so hot it burns it off.
Yeah, I suppose that's the difference with the butane flame. I suppose you're going to get hot and burn off any oil.
Yeah.
Sometimes soldering iron can't. Yeah, makes sense.
That's why I'm surprised Rusty said yours doesn't do the job, because mine it gets too hot. You solder, if you leave it on real hot, it starts loosening up the lines on the other side of the tank.
Yeah.
It gets so hot.
Yeah, mine. I can't get heat to travel out of mine that far, because that's what I wanted to do, is melt a whole seam at a time, or at least an inch in each direction, but couldn't do it.
To take the tank apart, to take the caps off, you got to use a butane torch. You heat it up, with the butane torch, to take the cap off right from the beginning. Right. And then from there, then you can clean it up, and then you use the soldering iron for reassembly. But take it apart, it's always a butane torch, so you can heat it evenly around, and then just like a screwdriver, and top the cap off.
Yeah, I've taken the back caps off of them on top of a kitchen stove before too.
Right, but to take the cap off with a soldering iron, that's hard.
Yeah, it gets stuck all the time.
Yeah.
Well, surprising.
I'm going to sign off. It's after 12 here, and
yeah, it is. I appreciate you coming on, Al. Thanks a lot, and you too, Steve and Gerald, and
take the back cap off.
Jack and Bob on YouTube. Not talking. We have a few viewers. We got 9 viewers right now, but thanks all y'all for watching. And it was kind of a mellow Monday night here at the old Hangout, but y'all do something fun this week so you can come back Friday and talk about it. And I guess till then, fair winds, tight lines, and we'll see y'all later.
All right.
Cheers.